Hey everyone, I have some exciting news to share for a couple of things, and I will be going over them. We finally had news on when the next state of play is happening, and Infamous might actually be returning. So other than that, let's get into it. So for all you that are wanting to see more of Marvel's Wolverine so bad, and even I have wanted to as well, well it seems we're getting more of it at the upcoming state of play. That has been announced, and it's happening on June 2nd, which is 3 days before Summer Game Fest begins. I gotta say, this all feels exciting, with us getting this and Summer Game Fest in the same month. June is honestly becoming one of the biggest months for gaming news again, and I'm all for it. I can't wait to see what they have in store for the gameplay for Wolverine, other than just taking down bad guys with the claws. I want to see how brutal the combat is going to be, how the healing factor works, and I especially want to see if the open world rumors are actually true. We've only got a little glimpse and leaks for so long now that it finally feels like we're about to get the real reveal that fans have been waiting for. So we do have some details for the showcase, like it will be over an hour long, which means this won't just be a quick look at Wolverine. We will also see some other games. It does sound exciting, but I wouldn't get too excited, because for all we know, they could end up showing games that we won't really have interest in. They for sure could be third-party games, so don't expect every single reveal to be first-party PlayStation exclusives. They say that Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, Marvel Tokon, Fighting Souls, and live service games such as Fairgames and Horizon Hunter's Gathering could be shown. Those are things that are being heavily talked about right now. They say that rumored games are still a possibility too, and we all remember this one, the rumored God of War spinoff featuring Faye. But will they show any of the things that I went over in my predictions video for Summer Game Fest? Well, I could see them possibly showing one of them, but don't expect all of them. If none of them, not even one gets shown, then I guess they're saving all the big surprises for Summer Game Fest. I would say that for this state of play, they're probably going to show some of the games people are less excited for first, and then say the huge reveals for the next event, which honestly I think is a good idea, because if anything, I'd rather they share the games that I really want to see at Summer Game Fest. For all I know, the best thing at this state of play could easily end up being Wolverine, because that game is probably going to be the main focus. I just can't wait to see more of Wolverine. I'm seriously hyped, because like I said before, Wolverine is my favorite character, and he's just awesome. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Summer Games has in store for us, because they absolutely nailed the Spider-Man games, and now they're working with one of Marvel's most brutal characters. As for the show times, ours will be at 5 o'clock on Tuesday. There's other times, depending on the location. What's interesting here is that for Asia and Oceania, it will actually air early in the morning, and instead of Tuesday, it'll technically be on Wednesday for them. Always gotta be something different, depending on where you live. Another interesting thing is they plan on showing this at certain movie theaters. It's hosting special live watch party viewings of the live stream, and tickets are apparently free. I never thought they would do something like that for a gaming showcase, and honestly, I don't think I would personally go see something like that in a theater, even if it was free. Imagine staying there for over an hour, and half the games end up being not interesting. Well, for one thing, this definitely won't be any theater where I live, because they're doing it in locations like Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, and New York City. So I'll be at home watching on YouTube, just like most people probably will. Even if some of the games they show end up being bad, at least we all get to finally see more of Wolverine. And honestly, that alone already makes this showcase worth watching for me. I seriously cannot wait to play this game when it releases. Now for some news on Infamous. We got news recently that an Infamous project may be in development at PlayStation Studios, and this was mentioned by Jordan Miller from Video Games Chronicle. It's currently unknown if it's remakes of the old games or a completely new game. If they do remake the old games, I could absolutely see them remaking Infamous and Infamous 2, because those are PS3 games, and they could definitely use modern upgrades. If it ends up being that, then I'm completely in, because I think the Infamous games were awesome. Those were some real classic PlayStation games back in the PS3 days. As for Infamous Second Son, they really don't need to remake that game at all. It still looks good today, and honestly, it still plays great too. That one's perfectly fine the way it is. Miller recently spoke on a podcast and said he's under the impression that there is an Infamous thing happening somewhere else in PlayStation at the minute, which apparently suggests that the game may not actually be developed by Sucker Punch Productions themselves. Greg Miller then asked him to elaborate during an episode of Kind of Funny Gamescast, and Miller explained that this is currently based on a single source, and he hasn't fully corroborated it yet. As much as it would be disappointing to hear that Sucker Punch might not be involved if this turns out to be true, it would honestly be a shame because Sucker Punch gave us not only the Infamous games that fans loved, but also Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei, which both look like really awesome samurai games. When I first saw Ghost of Tsushima, it actually reminded me of Onimusha, because a lot of samurai games I played growing up were basically Onimusha games. That's honestly the vibe I got immediately from it. Now, I know a lot of companies could tentatively take over Infamous, but we all want to end up with the right developer. Companies like Rocksteady Studios and Naughty Dog would have sounded perfect years ago, but I'm not really sure anymore after how Suicide Squad killed the Justice League and The Last of Us Part 2 turned out for a lot of fans. I was really looking forward to both of those games. Suicide Squad especially just didn't feel like the same quality as the Batman Arkham games, and the live service elements made it even worse for a lot of people. Personally, I'd rather see companies like Capcom, Santa Monica Studio, or Insomniac take over, because those studios still know how to make games that feel worth playing. If Sucker Punch really isn't involved, then hopefully whoever does get the project understands why fans loved Infamous in the first place. There's more for Midler too, because based on what he heard, he assumed it would probably be remakes of the first two PS3 games for PS5. He later clarified by saying, "That wasn't told to me directly, but that was very much implied." He also warned there was always a chance the project may have been cancelled by now, which would honestly be heartbreaking for fans. I really hope it's not cancelled, because I'm definitely not the only one that wants this project. Fans across social media, even Reddit, have been asking for Infamous to return for years now. Back then, Sucker Punch Productions said it could only really focus on one game at a time, so maybe that's why nothing has happened for so long now. It actually sounds like Sucker Punch might not be as massive a studio as some people think, because if they really can only focus on one project at a time, then that would explain why Infamous disappeared, while they focused on the Ghost games. So if Sucker Punch themselves were working on remakes of the first two Infamous games, then it would probably mean the first remake would release, and we had to wait years for the second one. Yeah, that would definitely suck. One fan even expressed caution by saying that if Sucker Punch isn't connected, then they want nothing to do with it. They also said that because the original games are so old, it might actually make more sense to fully remake them instead of just remastering them. And honestly, I understand why fans feel nervous, because if the wrong company handles these games, then they could completely ruin what made them special back on PS3. For all of you that remember, back in 2022, Sucker Punch confirmed that they had no plans to revisit either Infamous or Sly Cooper at that time, and there weren't any other developers working on those franchises either. But plans change all the time in the gaming industry. Maybe after all these years, they finally figured out a way to bring back Infamous, while still focusing on Ghost of Yotei. So whether they remake Infamous 1 and 2, or remake a sequel to Second Son, which honestly I would love to see, I'm just excited the franchise could finally be returning. I do wonder how they would continue the story with Delsin Rowe, because the story felt pretty much complete in Second Son, but maybe they could figure out a way just like they did with Cole McGrath, or maybe they go with a completely new character again. If Infamous really is coming back, then I honestly can't wait for more, because I've always thought these games were awesome. So what do you think will show up at the next State of Play besides Wolverine? And do you think Infamous is finally coming back or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.